Modesto at an Almond Board of California Pest ID workshop, and I'm here with Mel Machado, and he's grower relations for Blue Diamond. Mel, today we were talking about all things almond pests. You obviously have a lot of good info there. Can you just start by walking us through a windrow sampling? What do growers need to be looking for? How can they determine what is pest damage and what might be environmental damage?
I think the first thing about pest management is identifying what the problem is. Right. If you have an ant issue and you're chasing navel orange or you're chasing the wrong problem, within that, it really has a good idea of what your environment is, what the neighborhood is, because if you have a neighborhood problem with navel orange worm, and we've had that pop up in the last couple of years, you might want to sample one particular area of the field. If you go across the entire field picking nuts out of windrows, you're going to get basically a composite of what everything is going on in that field, but you may have an isolated problem. You should concentrate on where you might believe you'd find a problem.
Okay. And are there any new tools that growers should be looking for to maybe make the process a little easier or maybe work a little better for them?
As far as sampling, looking for damage, it boils down to fingers and eyeballs. Just being out in the field. One gentleman told me the best nutrients you apply to your orchard is found in the found on the soles of your shoes. Getting out there in the field and walking around and being observant.
I think you told me boots on the ground one time is the best way.
Boots on the ground, yes.
So at this workshop, growers had the chance to have a pile of damaged nuts that you brought in for them to look through. What were some of the things they were looking for?
We're looking for navel orange worm. That's still the primary pest, but we've seen an expansion of the damage caused by hemipteran insects, by plant bugs, leaf-footed plant bug and stink bugs. So there was some in there. Some ant damage too, which there's always a few ants out there in the field, and they are really easy to control. You may want to make sure that they don't get away from you. And then now the new pest that we're wondering about, and I'm still wondering about, we're still learning, is Carpophilus bee.
And I know Jalindra talked a little bit about that and some ways to not just identify it, but I think he was talking about lures and trapping and things like that. Just general pest management. In your experience, how have pest management strategies evolved? And are there any emerging trends or tools that growers can utilize these days to make the process easier?
The University of California has some good weather tools out there on their website and UCIPM that you can learn what's going on around you based on the weather models. What are the biofixes for the various insects? There's a lot of good identification tools out there as well. It still boils down to just being aware of what's going on in and around your orchard. Key point for me in pest management, pay attention. A lot of people tell me I can't afford to do this. I can prove that you can, but pay attention and know what your problem is.
Okay, great. This is Kristen Platts with My Ag Life.